Here to keep the chase going, share information, spread unity, preserve our heritage and our culture. We're trying to achieve something that you just can't catch. We're always trying to find a better way, trying to make better dogs. That's what Dixie Doggers Podcast is. That's who we are.
This episode is brought to you by Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company. Marc Rankin specializes in Brahma and Brahma Cross cattle in Oglethorpe County, Georgia. You can contact him at 407-832-2077. 407-832-2077. This episode is also brought to you by Phil Wilson of UC Hunting Properties. If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. You can contact him at 678-791-3483, 678-791-3483, or visit his website down below in the description.
All right, everybody. Nate and Joey back here one more time, doing another episode.
Yes, indeed.
I guess y'all figured out we ain't going nowhere and we won't shut up. Or I won't shut up. Nate don't say nothing, but I do. Well, I was discussing with this fella right here about some dog steaks and some tie-outs and stuff like that. But he's got a whole lot better system than I got going on here. The way he does his is, I mean, it's really a really nice product, and y'all have probably heard of it. This is Mr. Brennan Landry. He's the guy owns Cable Gangz. Mr. Landry, how you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good, Joey. Thanks. Yeah, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Started Cable Gangz back 4 or 5 years ago. It's something I do, small business. My wife and I run. A few people we got working for us, and I'm a bird dog guy from Louisiana, and I'm happy to be sitting here talking with you guys this evening.
Man, that's good. We appreciate you taking your time and getting on here with us, because sounds like you've been busy. You said you was doing a little hurricane prep.
Hurricane prep, yeah. They got one out in the Gulf right now, as they typically do this time of year. So we're just cranking up generators and making sure my what is that, mini split? What are those things called?
Yeah.
Or AC units, yeah. Making sure one of those is running and filling up gas cans.
Right on. Well, like I said, man, we hope everything comes through good and y'all don't have no bunch of damage or nothing.
Yeah, thanks. And
because that stuff right there, man, you can't hardly beat Mother Nature. Well,
no.
You can't beat her at all, honestly. So no matter what you do, but
we don't get it. We don't really get it as bad as people closer to the coast. I mean, we may get some power lines down, and sometimes you have to get some roof work if it's a really bad one.
Yeah.
But no, normally we just a couple of days without power, and then it's business.
I got you. Well, how did tell us how you got into the Cable Gangz sets and what got you to start building them, and or if you want to, you can go over your product first and kind of give a little more in-depth explanation than what I did, and then walk us through how you got started and all that good stuff.
So I started Cable Gangz back in, I think, around 2020, right when the pandemic hit. I had a lot of time off. I was working from home a lot, so I was working dogs a lot every morning. I needed some new cables and stuff. I've been making them a few years for myself, kind of like seeing what my grandfather had when we were younger. He had something really similar, like a picket line out of cable. And I had ordered a bunch because I needed to order a bigger quantity so I could get this orange cable that I wanted. Decided to sell the extras that I made. Here we are 4 years later, still doing it. Got a little growing business. I really enjoy running it. I really enjoy dealing with dog people. We try to come up with new stuff that maybe everybody else doesn't have. Like, we've got some rodent rigs and that people use for resistance roding. And about to get into a few more products now, expand our line. And we've got I'm about to start doing some collars, that biothane stuff. But I got a way to print on these tags to where it's going to be like really large letters.
Yeah.
Where they're a lot easier to read. I think that's one way I can separate mine from other people's. And
yes,
just stuff like that. The sky's the limit, you know. I mean, we're still foot on the gas.
There you go. Yeah. And I agree with the the new stuff where you're making it that even if it's stuff that's already out, when you make it your own and it separates you.
Right.
I have an old number all, and it has 5/16 letters. And I
That's
mean,
big.
they're big. Yes,
Yeah.
they're big. I can get 2 lines, and that's it. I mean, it's slap
That's
full.
it.
There's no room.
But I promise you, all these older gentlemen that coon hunt and rabbit hunt,
They're going to see those.
that's
pictures.
what they want. That's what
That's
they
right.
want. Man, I made so many daggum nameplates when we first opened our little store. And they wouldn't even buy new collars. They just had me changing nameplates, you know?
Yeah, something you can see.
Yes.
There's all these little enamel paint pens you can get to like color those letters in.
Yeah.
So you color it in, let it dry, and then you wipe it away off the brass tag.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes those letters stick out. This is like a CNC I'm doing it with. So I can get 20 characters on the first line, 16 on the second, and 20 on the third
Nice.
on a 1x3 plate. So it's I'm still working on them, but I'm about a couple weeks out putting them out. So pretty excited.
Sweet.
About it.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. There's a guy in Tyler, Texas. He was, and he does a lot of the, I don't laser engraving stuff, you know?
Right. Yep.
And he done some nameplates, and now they look good. They did. And the letters were big enough, but he didn't have his machine set. And it was just something he was playing around with. I thought he was going to get serious with it. It's more along the lines of what you're talking about there, but he never did.
Right.
But man, they looked so good. You could see them dudes. I mean, just bam, they just popped out.
Pop out on.
Oh yeah.
This is a little different than a laser what I've got. It's
Yeah.
laser. I wanted to stay away from a laser because I'm running it indoors, and I didn't know about all the fumes and everything that's
Mm-hmm.
burning into that brass and stuff. I mean, I'm gonna run this thing in my living room.
Hell yeah. My guy.
I got it's like a CNC, so it's cutting them deep,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of got good control over how close I can get to the edges and things like that, where I can kind of max it out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now,
hopefully people like them. I'm
think they
using
will.
a few right now.
you're using a what now?
Turn it out.
Hold on, Brennan. I
Put 'em
lost.
on. Hey, you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You on speakerphone,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Want me to get off?
Well, I mean, it'll help, but I mean, if you're busy and you got to keep doing your stuff, then we understand
I'm
that
off.
too. Okay.
That's
It just sometimes it'll cut out. That's all it is, man.
Oh yeah, I get it.
I got you.
So yeah, these I've been making tags and testing them out. Made some for some buddies, and I got a few I've been using. I'm liking them so far.
I got you. Now you said you run the bird dogs, right? What kind of bird dogs?
Bird dogs. I got English pointers right now. Came up a diehard waterfowl hunter with my dad, and I don't know, something about 10 years ago I got a Brittany and started woodcock hunting, and then that was the end of that. That's all I wanted to do after it. So now I run English pointers now. I got 3, and I chase bobwhite quail and woodcock, from all winter here in Louisiana and Mississippi.
Really? You want to come to Alabama and chase some?
I would, for sure.
Because my son Nathan over here, he went to college for wildlife management and forestry and stuff, and
Okay.
so we've got a little bit of property. He's kind of managed it, and I'll be honest, like his management, really he ain't doing nothing. So I got to kind of watch him a little bit, but I will
Setting
say
it on fire is about it.
he ain't even done that yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
I had to
But
because it's strip hit, and so like everything, they were bush hogging
Right.
it every year.
Oh yeah, it's bad, man.
Okay.
I was like, we're gonna let this grow for a few years.
We had one covey on the property of wild white, and there was probably 10, 12 birds in it.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first year that we were there. So it's been over a period of four going 5 years, somewhere in there. And this will be 3 years since Nathan started doing his thing. And now we've got 3 or 4 coveys that we see all the time.
That's really good.
And snipe and woodcock are all over the place.
Yeah.
Nice. Really nice. What
Yeah.
part of Alabama are y'all in? The southern part?
Jasper. Actually, we're right where the foothills start, going
Yeah.
into the
Okay.
Appalachian Mountains.
So where's that from? Like Montgomery?
Straight up,
Yeah.
straight up 65, and we're.
Be another,
Do you know where
3
Do you know where
hours
Tupelo,
north?
Mississippi's at?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So if you were to go from Tupelo to Birmingham, we're just about in the middle.
Okay. I got you.
We're closer
Yeah.
toward the Mississippi line,
I got you. Yeah.
but it's
Well, you guys are hunting mostly hogs up there, you said, huh?
yeah, that's what we concentrate on. We do a lot of hunting. I don't know if we ever catch any, but we run them.
I wish they'd come take more out around here.
we
Those things are destructive, man.
we'll make a trip and come help you. But no, man, I was just like the bird dog stuff. I've always wanted to. I just like watching a good dog work.
And I love
Oh, yeah, that's what
woodcock.
it's all
To me, woodcock are the coolest birds
Yes.
ever. Like especially
They are awesome.
like just all their mating dances. Like if you've ever just had the
Oh,
chance
yeah.
to watch one at night when they get up there and do that little dance and they do the little meep.
Yep.
Like
Used to
because
do
they
that at
also make
Saturday- I used to do that Saturday nights at the club.
they're the
Yeah.
funniest looking
It's something
thing.
similar, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, they're the only upland bird that migrates. So they'll do 500 miles in a night, a bird that can only fly 20 something miles an hour. So they get up high enough to get a good tailwind.
Wow.
And they didn't know how far these birds were moving until they started radio tracking them. So radio track a lot of them every winter.
Mhm.
And they've just learned a lot about them over the past, decade or so. And they are incredible.
How are
They got high
track-
sight fidelity, man. They'll show up and sit under the same exact bush the next year if they make it.
Yeah, because
And they
the
can
ones I've
see
seen are in the
incredible.
same exact spot.
How many degrees
spot.
of view? Like what is their the degrees their field of view? It's like what, like 270 or
It's
something like that.
something incredible like that
Yeah.
because their eyes are set so far back on their head that their ears are actually in front of their eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a mute,
Yeah,
if
like-
you ever go to the beach and you see those birds chasing the wash in and out, the little sanderlings and stuff, sandpipers, they're a sandpiper like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But they're just so derived from that they're now these singular birds that live in the woods with ears in front of their eyes with a 3.5-inch beak.
Yes.
Wow.
They're awesome.
They
Yeah,
really are.
we're gonna have to definitely.
I don't know. It's something about birds
so.
with the long beaks. That's the only birds I'm ever super interested in. Like quail and stuff. Like I like them, but like woodcock, snipe, like the hummingbirds, those are all just. I don't know. It's something about that beak that just is so
Yeah.
weird. It don't make sense, but it does.
Yeah, they're an oddball. So that the end of their beak is prehensile too, so they can probe deep down into the soil and then use the tip of their beak like tweezers to pull those worms out.
Bad
It's
little
neat.
dudes.
They're bad little dudes. Yep.
Hell yeah. Which I mean, there's like I said, there's several places that I have seen them over and over. Now, I don't see them all the time, but every time that I see them, there's a certain pine tree. Like I can
Yeah.
tell you, this bird's going to be, and I always thought that was kind of funny. I said, for the past 5 years, every time I see that bird, he's been right there.
Right. And like a 20-yard circle.
Yes, in the same exact spot. It's right before you get to the little flower pot stand.
Oh yeah, I know the
You,
pine
you
trees
know
you're
exactly
talking
what I'm
about.
talking about.
We've jumped the same little bird. We jump him there every about January.
It's pretty
Yeah.
wild, man. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's something new.
And they
the same place.
so they can have high sight fidelity, but they can also have some plasticity in their migrational movements
Mhm.
to where, say there's a new cutoff or that area is dry, they can absolutely go and find, like if you do a cutover, I've seen cutovers before on public land a year later, it's full woodcock. I mean, they'll react to new situations as well, but if they got a good spot that they're going to, they'll, on the opposite end of the spectrum, they'll just show up to that exact same spot every year too.
Yeah, I wonder how many was really there though. Like I said, other
I mean,
than what we just
if you're
said.
seeing 3 or 4, there's probably dozens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because there's been a few
Yeah.
times where, like, we've been pulling out and we had a stop sign. We did this not long ago, wasn't it? Or was
Yeah.
that snipe?
yeah, those. Yeah, I believe those were snipe.
Those might have been snipe was seen. But anyway, it's just like I see all these birds all the time.
Right.
So
Yep.
it like I said, for real now, the offer stands if you want to come up, make a trip, we'll put it together.
We're gonna make that happen then. You got woodcock and quail. That's a perfect day down here when you get in a few coveys and 10 or 15 woodcock.
Yeah, and that's what like I said, I have wanted to do it, but I don't have the dogs, don't have the knowledge, so I'm not gonna go up there and just stomping and kicking around it. Not me.
Oh, that's too much work.
Yeah, that's not me. Nope.
You'll let the dog work for you.
Yep. Like I said, I just like watching a good dog work. So you got into the English pointers.
I did. I had one English pointer and that was it. I wanted all English pointers.
I've had a few of them. They are.
You had them.
Workhorses.
You had them. They were hog dogs, catch dogs, or bay dogs.
Actually, one was a finished quail dog when I got him, Boomer, and I never put him on a bird. We went on a hunt in Mississippi, and I said, well, we'll let him run around. And that first day, he found 11 pigs.
Oh, wow.
It was a high fence area.
Okay.
And, but at the same time, it's very, very hard to hunt. He was just so full of energy and could move so well through the thick stuff.
Just running so hard.
He ran into him and just started barking. And I said, I wonder what he's barking at. Cause I was like, well, no, he's not on bird. Cause I think Dwayne and one of them said, well, he's probably found some quail. I was like, he's not going to be barking at quail. I was like, so let's ride up. Well, once we started getting close, you could hear a pig grunting. And I was like, I said, dude, he's got a pig. And that dog just was an absolute natural. And, a beast.
It was a tank. It's one of the biggest.
He's one of the biggest I've ever seen.
Big dog, huh? I've heard of people using them for tree and squirrels and stuff too. I mean,
really?
I guess, they can be versatile, I guess.
Yes. Well, like
I definitely don't want mine going after hogs, because sometimes in some of those woodcock thickets, I've had some real hairy situations where they're pointing a hog, a young dog or something.
Mm-hmm.
They'll kind of point anything they get a nose full of scent on once they, when they're young. And when you walk in there and flush, think of birds coming up and a big hog takes off. That's pretty sketchy.
Yes, I imagine it could be very sketchy. I
try to hog break mine. I know you might like that, but I try to hog break them and deer break them.
Yeah.
And rabbit. I don't want them going after any of that stuff. Just personal preference.
Well, I mean, we do the same thing. We keep them on hogs though, and we try to break them off other stuff. Now, when they're real young though, we let them run it as long as they're hunting. Their first hunt, their first actual hunt or two. I'm not hard on them if they're running something.
Sure.
No matter what, because they're trying to hunt. So I'm like, hey,
you're just trying to instill that prey drive in them.
Right on. Yep. That's exactly right. So is there a certain bloodline that you prefer on those pointers?
On pointers? Yeah. My two youngest dogs are, the youngest is Miller Rebel. Her grandsire's Miller's Blindsider. He won the Nationals a couple of years ago. She's bred real nice. My middle dog is basically Miller Elview. So I've had my last two been those Miller lines, and I've been happy with them. It's not that I don't like any other lines. I would try. There's a lot of lines out there I would try, but the two I have now are probably pretty heavy Miller, and I do like them. I do like those lines. A Happy Jack line I seem to enjoy running. So.
Now, though, the Miller line where's it out of?
That's out of Tennessee, I think. Farrell Miller developed that line years ago.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was an amateur all-age field trialer. Not amateur by any stretch, but amateur technically. He didn't, I think the rules for that are if you get paid to train dogs or run dogs, you're a pro. If not, you're an amateur.
Yes, sir.
So in the bird dog world, you could have all-age amateur handlers that are just as good as pros, and that's basically where that line came from. He had a lot of success in the 90s and 2000s, I think it was, and he just had some super producing dogs over the years, and they're still going.
That's good.
Still a lot of that stuff out there, That all-age trialing that people do on horseback's a lot of you hear a lot in the bird dog world. People say, I don't need a dog to be 1,000 yards out there and this and that. It's like this rhetoric that comes up. But really what they're doing is they get these dogs that are at the extreme end of what a normal person would want a dog to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're breeding, they're maintaining that high level of performance, like these extreme dogs that are going to run extreme, be big, be fast. And I don't know if you hear that in hound or hog dog circles, but those guys are always talking about breeding down.
Yeah, well, now we
so
want to breed up. We want ours to keep going and going and going.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They say when you're line breeding, you're constantly going down, so you got to go out and breed up, and that's what they're going for with these all age field trials, where they don't end up in the trap of breeding down and watering down gene pools. So that all age stuff, the horse, if you go to the right lines and the people who are doing it right, you can get some really nice even foot hunting dogs. I mean, that's all I hunt mine off of.
Yes.
And this youngest dog I got went up to the prairies last year. I sent her for a couple months. I mean, she's out there first time she gets turned loose doing 900-yard loops, you know, and I'll take her right there in a woodcock thicket and I might keep her inside 100, you know. I mean, they can adapt, you know, but you're getting these dogs with super high drive that are built to move good, look good doing it. And I don't know. I appreciate a good all-age bred dog myself. I know a lot of woodcock hunters and stuff may not have that same outlook on it.
Now, when you get your dogs, so you get them as pups or young dogs, and you do all your own training.
Yeah, I get them. I get pups, and I work on them. The first thing I start doing is taking them out and just getting going with me, staying in the front. And at the same time that I'm doing that, exposing them to everything I can. I do a lot of bench work with them, like stacking them up, getting them to stand right. And that's kind of like the foundation for when I got them stacked up on a bench and I'll start flying birds. And they're so used to standing there that there's no command, no pressure or anything. They're just, it's habit, you know. And that makes it a lot easier when you transition into, you condition them to stop on the belly band. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of those pointing guys running that band on the stomach. All that is when you tap them on the belly, it means stop. And you start taking the chase out of them on birds. Once they're flash pointing and taking birds out, they're going, you know, first you let them go 30 yards and you start tapping them, getting them stopped. And before you know it, they're standing there watching them fly.
Nice. Up until last year, me and my brother-in-law and my middle son, we hauled a lot of bobwhite quail to different places, some of these big facilities, I guess you'd say, you know, big ranches out in Texas.
Okay.
And so we got to see quite a few different dogs and, you know, I guess different styles.
Right.
Because, I mean, you know, you'd like to think for just the average guys that don't know anything about the bird hunting or quail hunt, just say for quail hunting, you see these dogs and you think, okay, well, you got a dog that's going to go out there and point a quail. You walk up there, they flush it, and you shoot it. Well, that's what I thought for a long time too, until I seen the difference in an English pointer, a Brittany, and a Cocker Spaniel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, man, these dogs are all working, but it's like they're so different. I mean, the end result's the same, but it was just I could appreciate watching those dogs work so much more.
Oh, it's definitely fun to watch for sure. And there's so many pointing breeds out there. I mean, a lot of it's all personal preference. There's people that like the Griffons, the Brittany setters, pointers, GSPs. I mean, and there's excellent high level examples of every breed out there. Just the one you stick with is, you know, or the one you like is the one you're going to gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely not knocking any of the other breeds. I mean, I hadn't hunted with a ton of different breeds, but I've seen really good setters, really good Brittany's, really good short hairs. You know, a good bit of them. They can all be excellent for sure.
Yeah, we got a guy that lives not too far from here. He used to come by the shop a lot, and his health started getting down on him a little bit. His name is Glenn Odom, and he's been field trialing training dogs and stuff. My goodness, I don't know, for decades and decades. And I think he's got a couple of short hairs now.
Yeah.
And which he's one of those. He's had several different breeds over the years, of course, and
Right.
he would come in here and sit and talk to me, and man, just tell me all these different stories, and he would walk me through training methods and all this stuff. He tried to get me to go and come out. I wish I really took time and went out there and hung out with him, and
Right.
that way I could learn a lot of this stuff, because you get those guys that are, I think Glenn's probably 74. I think he's 74. Man, just the knowledge that they have.
Oh yeah, all the years of all the dogs that guy's probably been through.
Oh yeah, he did a lot of big stuff. Like I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about a whole lot of it, but like I know he had pictures of him and President Bush.
Oh yeah.
That's like out in Texas and training dogs for him.
Taking all the big wigs, huh?
Yeah,
the biggest wig.
Like he was, and then he had a commercial business. He would build these big, Butler buildings, metal buildings. And so he got it 2 or 3 times all the way around. They would call him and be like, "Hey, come down here and build my hunting camp." Or, come down here and build this new building for us. Then he trained dogs. Then he'd guide hunts for him. He did pretty good for himself over the years.
Yeah. That South Texas is huge quail hunting, man.
Yes.
And it takes a tough dog to get in that stuff. That scrub country down there is just, man, oh man.
It
Cactus,
so
and every plant out there wants to stab you and kill you.
Yeah. It'll bite you.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh man. So those dogs that make it down there, they got to have some grit to them.
Mm-hmm. That one place that we went just north of Bernie, Texas, it's a big, it's a big whoop-de-doo place out there, and they ran Cocker Spaniels, a lot of Cocker Spaniels,
Okay.
and they liked them because they were smaller dogs. It was a lot of scrub country,
Right.
and that's what those guys were saying. They said, "Man, the dogs it's so hard on them."
They get beat up in that stuff, and it's always hot. Even in January, you got hot days down there. I mean,
ain't no doubt.
It'll test them down there for sure. From what I hear, I've never been down there.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And now, thanks to the sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers. Animal Housing Solutions.
Boars N Broads.
Crockett Taxidermy.
Hardcore Hog Dogs.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Ada Y Transport.
4L Kennels.
The American Doghorn Museum.
Unique Hounding Hunting Supply.
Hogbang.com.
Tuskers Magazine.
Mud Creek Hog Dog Trials.
We've never hunted it. I mean, we would go hang out while they were hunting.
Right.
Most of the time we had done drove all night long, and we're just trying to get, kill a little time so we could come back home.
Right. Trying to get a nap in.
Yes. And so we would just take it easy for a couple of hours. And of course they would always, we'd eat breakfast or whenever we had the time to do it. Sometimes we just turn straight around and come right back home. And we did that so we could keep the birds alive. It's hot. Like you said, it gets hot. And if you're hauling 5,000 to 7,500 birds in an enclosed trailer, and I mean, we got fans on them, of course, but still it's hot in there.
So were y'all breeding the quail and flight conditioning them for them?
Okay. They were ready. They were flight ready, but all we did was drive.
Haul them.
A friend of ours actually owns the company, W&W Game Birds out of, I'm trying to think of where he'd be. He's got like 3 or 4 places here in Alabama.
Oh, in Alabama.
I think it'd be Parrish.
Yeah, he's like Parrish, and his name's Joe Willis.
I got you.
And I
And
mean,
we used to get good birds from the prison over here from Angola. They had a big operation out there.
oh yeah,
And they, for some reason, several years back, they shut it down. But I went and bought birds from that place a few times, and they were like $2 a piece, and they were
wow.
excellent training birds. You know,
Well, you can't buy a foot now for $2.
I know it. Something.
They some of the contracts that we had, they like, I don't know what they are this year, but I know 2 years ago they were right at $5 a piece, and that's if
Right.
they bought 20,000 plus birds.
Right.
And so some of the guys I talked to in Texas, they said they were $7.
I wouldn't doubt it.
God,
I know, because I don't usually buy big quantities. I'll go get 30 or 40 at a time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 7 probably. But
Yeah.
I just use them during the summer. Right about this time of year is when I start going try to point wild birds.
So how different is it between the raised birds and then the wild birds?
Oh, it's
Big
no
difference.
comparison.
I got you.
Big difference. Those wild birds they're so savvy, especially on public land. You know, they run, they hide, they flush wild. Even like around my house, I'll have a few coveys from birds that I'm training with over the summer. They may make a covey, and I'm training on them all through until they cut the sugar cane.
Mm-hmm.
When they really don't have anywhere else to go but the tree lines, and I don't really go after them in there. And they start to get wary after a few months, but it's nothing like wild birds.
Really?
Those wild birds can run, I mean, like a rat across the ground.
Yeah, when I was younger, man, we had quail all over the place where I grew up at, and we could just walk down between the gravel road, have a ditch, and then the railroad tracks, just a hedgerow, and man, you could just walk down through there. You were gonna kick some up.
That's crazy. I couldn't imagine that nowadays.
Yeah, and
to
now
to have that back would be special, though.
Oh, without a doubt, it would be. That's what I would be doing. If we had birds like that, that's honestly what I would be doing.
Yeah,
because there's a nostalgia.
There's still some pockets in the Southeast for sure. A lot of habitat work being done, and hopefully it continues to be done. I know in the national forest over here, they got, our national forest does a good job burning, thinning, and the Forest Service people, and hopefully they continue to do that. We can get some more projects going too, some more quail emphasis areas and things. That's some stuff my buddy has got in the works. He's big in being a driver for that kind of stuff. So it's always good to have people like that around.
Oh yeah.
That are, pushing for that kind of stuff for all of us,
Yeah, because everybody can benefit from it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
We're all on the same team.
Yep, that's what
right.
Nate says. That Nate tries to tell people that all the time, and because we're those kind of guys that, I mean, we do whatever we can do to help everybody, no matter what,
right.
Whether it's anything that we do or not. We started sponsoring coon hunts and stuff like that, and like we got a little supply store, but all these guys, they know that all we did was hog hunt. But like we would send collars and feed and all this stuff up to the coon hunts. And for the past couple of years, we've done that. Well, this year, the Coon Hunter Association, they started sponsoring some of our hunts now.
Right.
And
that's good.
Yeah, and now we got other hog hunters that are sponsoring coon hunters and squirrel hunters, and now those guys are sponsoring hog hunters or rabbit hunters or whatever. So if everybody just keeps, I'm not saying we're the only ones that do it, because we're not. There's a lot of the others that do it, but in our area, that's what we try to do, because we're all on the same team, man. We're all running dogs.
I agree. I definitely, for my company, I also try to support anything that promotes hunting dogs. Anything. So I get tons of, hey, we're having a trial, can you send us something for door prize? And I definitely, I give what I can. I'm a small company.
But yeah, it's tough.
It's not, I never say no, It might just be a gift card for $25 or it's a big trial, I try to send them something, something a little more substantial. But yeah, definitely anything supporting dog sports, I'm all for it, because you can see like here, like on WMAs, they got what they call small game emphasis areas, and it's usually like the crappiest habitat on a WMA, and they'll tell rabbit hunters, okay, well, yeah, you can go run there for 2 weeks in October, and then we cut you loose mid-January to the end of the season. To me, it's just not enough,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it doesn't affect me personally because I'm a bird hunter, but it does, if you think about it. I mean, it affects all dog hunting.
Yep.
There's nobody fighting for those guys, I feel like sometimes,
Oh, without a doubt. That's like it is with the hog hunters. In where we live at, we can't hunt any management areas.
Hog hunters can't hear either.
It's crazy.
They do not allow hog hunting on it. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't,
and they want to get rid of all the hogs too.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense, but
there's got to be a sustainable way to do it. You just need the drivers out there pushing that kind of stuff. I mean, it's important.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, you got people that want to dog hunt. I think a lot of the use that happens on WMAs is probably deer hunters that don't want that to a great extent. Like, all the time they don't want people run, which I get. Deer hunters, they buy a lot of licenses and they fund a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking anything away from that, but there still needs to be something that everybody gets to play their game out there.
Well, yeah, and but like one part I don't understand is hog hunters. Most of us hunt all summer. Like we're during deer season, we don't hardly hunt at all.
You wouldn't even really be out there that time.
No, and that's the thing. If they would just let us
hunt the summer,
just let us hunt the summer, and like here in Alabama, we have a special nighttime season for dog and knife. We got a lot of restrictions, even for hog hunting with dogs, But at the same time, it's like all they do is complain about the hogs. Like, well, just turn us loose. Like and 10 years ago, it was like there was no restrictions. We could just do it. However, and then they changed everything. So, and I don't know what caused that either.
We'll be back after a quick break.
911, what is your emergency?
Units respond code 3 to a 1050 on the highway. Vehicles are blocking multiple
We're en route
lanes
to the
of travel.
hospital. Patient is currently having
We've got a
cardiac
four-alarm
arrest and has
fire
been
here.
intubated.
Send additional
Protesters are
truck.
outside of City Hall and they are not complying with our
Out
orders.
on one.
to
Hold the
disperse.
air.
In a rapidly changing world for first responders, where it seems that every day the rules and norms are changing, there is one voice you can count on to give you the latest in emergency news. That is Lifeline.
There's got to be a way to give everybody some time out there, you would think.
Yeah.
Now, can you guys run like deer dogs on national forests and stuff in Alabama?
I don't know of anywhere that they can really run.
I know in Louisiana they can't either. But in Mississippi, man, they got some liberal dog laws in Mississippi. They can do whatever the heck they want out there.
Well, see,
I love Mississippi's dog laws.
Oh yeah, we've got some places that you can hunt on one side of the highway, and then you can't hunt the other side of the highway. For deer dogging,
they're probably harder on deer dogging than about anything else.
Yep, they have been. We lost a lot on the deer dogging, so I know a lot of guys that just quit. But
I think every state has lost no dog hunter on deer is really. It doesn't seem like they're winning in the Southeast, at least.
We made
not as big as it used to be.
Exactly. We made a huge. We got a huge victory a couple of years ago. They actually gave us some rights back and some places back to hunt with deer dogs.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was a great thing, and so it was like, but that was the last I heard of it. So I'm like, well, why in the hell are we quitting now? Now we got a little fire. Let's try to get some other bills in.
Yeah.
But, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it's sad to see people getting out of that.
Mm-hmm.
The lease I was in when I used to duck hunt back in the 90s and early 2000s, they had deer dogs. And then the one of the big timber companies, one of the biggest ones in the state, they just came out and said no more dog hunting on the properties. I mean, that shut all that down right there. They still still hunt, deer hunt, but no more with dogs.
Yeah, I think, let's see, that creek club we were getting in last year, they, like 3 weeks before season started, they sent them a letter, said, hey, can't run dogs.
3 weeks.
And they've been running they've been leasing it for 30, I think he said 30 years, and did just cut it off.
Jeez.
But now listen to this. I could go run hog dogs, squirrel dogs, coon dogs. Could not run deer dogs.
Wow.
That made zero sense. But there's some neighbors that were having issues with it.
Yeah, I think you don't have the space you used to have, so you do have more conflicts, and then the people that are the loudest in those conflicts are gonna, they get their way. So
yeah. Well, these are a couple of prominent guys, and they're growing big deer. They still hunt, and I get it. I see it from their point of view, but at the same time, they came in and bought the property all around that, so they should have already known that, hey, they run deer dogs over here.
Right.
Instead of coming in and trying to change everything.
Yep.
And, it is what it is. I think they wind up getting some of it back where they can hunt this year, but I don't know the whole schematics of it this time.
Right.
I that stuff aggravates me so bad. It's like I don't even know what to do. It's
like death by 1,000 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit here, a little bit there. Next thing you know, your buddy with 20 deer dogs doesn't have them anymore.
Oh yeah, and that's where it's going.
Do y'all have organizations over there that
man, we
advocate for dog hunters' rights, or
we've got the Alabama Dog Hunters Association.
Yeah,
and we don't even have a chapter here. I don't know of it. We contacted a couple of other chapters, and they said, well, yeah, y'all got a chapter. Here's the president and vice president. And I'm like, I know both of those guys, and they have never said anything about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, so you know who they are? I was like, they were in my store all week.
Right.
And here I was complaining about this, and they never said a word.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, I don't know how good the associations are. It's not the association.
Might be something good to rekindle, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking for several years about, trying to get a big organization going, and but like we really need to get something local more figured out for ourselves here.
Yeah, you got some kind of organization and some unification across the state, and start seeing what kind of leeway you can start getting. I mean, once you start making some ground, people see success, then they want to join.
Yeah, we got a governor that I really feel like would, or she is for outdoorsmen.
Right.
Everybody calls her Mama. Well, is it Mama or Meemaw? Something like that. Meemaw. It's Kay Ivy. I mean, she's
right.
She's like an old school Meemaw, and she don't play either. But she's all about the outdoors and conservation. So if somebody's going to do it, I think now would be the time before anything happens and she's not our governor.
Yeah.
Because you know how that stuff works. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't like that.
All that stuff from national forests and all that, the way they're managing it and all that stuff is so political that it's just, it's hard to keep your eye on all of it and even know what kind of things are driving what. There's a lot to it. I don't understand it all. But
yeah, we've had several different organizations over the years that, like we had one for the hog hunters. I know there was one or two that was more of a small game organization, and they kind of fizzled out, but it's from just one person gets in there and means well, like you said, then the politics start.
Right.
And then that changes everything, man. So I don't know. I don't want to be complaining about it and not doing anything about it.
Right.
You know, it's so hard to do that though.
Yeah.
When you got 40,000 other things going on.
I understand that for
So,
sure.
All right. Well, with the way that you hunt and where you live at, it's got to be hot down there all the time too. You know,
It
it's
is.
talking about South Texas being hot.
Yeah, we get some hot days. The humidity is the killer. You know how that is. It can be low 80s and humid.
Yes.
That
So
can be tough on a dog if they're running all out.
what's your conditioning like on your dogs? What do you do to kind of?
So I resistance rode. I put them in a harness. I got bars on my ATV that I make some bungee roding rigs to take some of that shock off of their joints. And so I use those to tether them to their harness. And I'll drive, 7 miles an hour is about the mark I like. And I'll start working them. I normally try to start in August, which I was able to do this year because we had cool enough nights, or a rain would come through and I could get it in the next morning. And I'll just wait on those days that it's cool enough and the humidity's nice enough and start roding as I can. And what I shoot for is building them up to an hour. If I can get them up to an hour in the harness, leaning into it the whole time, I know that, you got a few hours of run in them when you just put them on the ground.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I try to do that 3 to 4 days a week if I can. The most roding I'll do is October and November. So normally if you start from scratch, you got about 6 to 8 weeks to build them up. But I like to take it slow and not rush it. If I can get them up to an hour or close to it, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That like you said, if you got them at an hour where they're staying ahead and they're pulling, so you say you got what, 2 or 3 hours good running out of them?
Yeah, at least
Probably
3, 4 even. Yeah,
probably more than that. Okay.
Because they're running under load. That's like,
yeah.
When they're just running free running, it's like they're just flying on air.
Yeah, ain't nothing to it.
Yeah,
they really.
So that's what I do. And that toughens the feet up too. So when I start roding, I use. I'm sure a lot of people, y'all probably use it, tough foot.
Mm-hmm.
I start putting that on them once a day to try to build the pads up. But the stuff I hunt in, I really don't test my dog's pads in wet swamps and in piney woods. But I still like to have them at least to where they're not going to be busting pads if they're on hot sand in those piney woods or something like that.
Yeah, that could be tough on them. Yeah, because that was something else we were going to talk about was the pads. I'm glad you hit that. Now on the resistance roding, you said that you're making some stuff for that, correct? A product?
Yeah, I make some bungee tethers. So I have clips on both ends, and it's 1/2-inch bungee. So there's not a ton of stretch in it, but it's enough to where it kind of like feathers how they're hitting them. Mainly, what I like it for the most is when you hit a big bump or something, or when a dog slams on the brake to take a dump. You don't
you're not
knock their you don't compress their spine to where the vertebrae touch each other. But it also, when they're running, you can see it kind of giving a little bit and just taking a little bit of that shock off their joints, stuff like that.
So do you have those available to the public yet?
I do. Yeah, I sell I'm in the process right now of changing the design on my single.
Mm-hmm.
So right now they're probably sold out on the website, but I have a double that. It's tried and true. I've been having them out for a few years. People like them. I use the heck out of mine. I know that.
Nice. I think that might be something. I'm going to look into that right there. I like to check that out because that's something with our dogs being stood up for a lot of the winter time. I mean, we need to have them in shape. So when we do turn loose in February, and then, man, as soon as we get going good, turkey season starts. Then we're shut down again.
Right.
So it goes from nice, cool, perfect running weather to hot.
To hot.
Yeah. And there's so many dogs that get heat stroke and stuff like that I've seen over the years.
Yes.
And we try to work our dogs, like you said, if it's nothing else but roding them around, just letting them run, whatever. But that right there's I like what you got going there. I'm gonna check that out.
And for all of our listeners interested,
is awesome.
it'll be down in the description down below. The link to his website will be down there. So if
Yep.
y'all want to go check out his products, just go check out the description.
Yep. Nate'll have you fixed up there so they can go check it out.
Appreciate that, Nate.
No problem.
Thanks.
No
I'm
problem.
gonna give you. You said, well, I'm gonna send you the address. You just send me one so I can do a little field trial on it.
Oh yeah,
I can try
we'll
it
get you
out.
testing them out.
Yeah, that's
I
what I,
got
need.
some biothane harnesses too, man, that are
Yeah,
pretty much indestructible. They that biothanes, I like that stuff.
I do
Yeah.
too. I've got where I
It don't
really
crack as
like
bad in the sun, and you
No.
don't have to take care of it like leather.
Mm-mm. We did it the other day. I hooked 2 leads up. The one that we made out of biothane, and it's that's what beta with it. No,
It's
biothane.
kind of the same thing, yeah.
So I used it on one leg and then had another lead on the other leg, and we were pulling them up the hill, and this hog was 250 pounds. And I pulled it up with a truck. And I mean, that lead, oh yeah, we do it all the time. And people,
Yeah, that biothane's like 1,000-pound brake strength per
Yes,
inch of
per
width, I
inch.
think. It's something crazy, yeah.
Yep. And I'm
Pretty strong.
honestly, I believe it because I had we pulled a truck. I pulled all kind of shit with it.
I'm telling you.
Way more than we were supposed to.
Yes. A dog
It
that'll get you out
stays
of
nice and
miles.
bright too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it does.
That's good
It
too,
takes a
especially
lot
if you
to
got
fade.
dogs at night. You can see the stuff.
Mhm.
I like a nice bright orange collar on them when I'm running them too.
No doubt, no doubt. So, all right. So we
Yeah,
got
that
the-
rodent though, you can hurt them in the heat with it though.
Mhm.
They will overdo it on rodent if you don't like. I got one dog. If I tried to road her this evening when it was in the 80s and humid, and you didn't stop her, she'd go until she fell out. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most
But
of them
it's
bird
just-
dogs, they got a lot of drive to them anyway. I could see where that would definitely be a problem in that scenario there.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much when you're roading them, you got to be protective of them too, and know when it's time to pull them off or stop and water them.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not overdo it, because that you putting their muscles under anaerobic load in those situations, and they can really just, I'm talking, get hot. You know, when you feel their ears. And
Oh yeah.
You know when you got them a little too hot and it's time to start cooling them down.
So what do you do in that scenario when you get them too hot? How do you guys handle it? Because
Well,
everybody's a little different.
the first thing I do is just try to prevent it by stopping frequently, or if it's early in the season and I hadn't roaded them, I might only put them in a harness for 10 or 15 minutes and then I put them up and leave. But if I do get a dog that gets too hot, I just splash water on the back of their hindquarters and on their ears and just try to keep it moving. Get them in water if I can. If I can't, I just dump water, pass across the ears and the hindquarters where that big main artery goes back there.
Mm-hmm.
If you can cool those 2 spots off in the belly, you can probably chill them down a little faster than if they're just standing there in the air.
I got you. That's pretty similar to what we do. A lot of things.
Same.
Maybe
Yep.
put some alcohol on their pads or
Alcohol, yeah.
pour a little bit on their belly. You know, like sometimes we have to deal with the catch dogs, and they'll have a vest on, and they're suited up, and man, they can get hot, bad hot. Yeah, very bad. We had one the other morning. Man, it was just a little light rain. First moisture we've had in 6 weeks. It was, what was it, mid-70s?
Yeah.
And she got so hot. Like I literally thought she was so close to, I was like, man, is she fixing to have heat stroke or what?
Right.
And like, I don't even see where she was overworked, but she is not in shape.
Right.
And that's legitimately why. One reason why she's not in shape is because we waited, while it was real hot to even start messing with her. Because she was overweight. She done laid up and got fat.
Dang.
Yeah, man, she laid up. So I got her from another guy, and so I knew, the dog is a very high performance dog.
Right.
And I knew I was like, we're going to have to take it easy because, like you said, she's one of those that'll just go until she can't go. And that's about where she was at the other day.
And those days when it's upper 70s, low 80s, but the humidity's 3,000%.
Yes.
That's the mornings like that are the hottest I've ever gotten a dog. I think it was 79 degrees, but the humidity was way up and there was no wind. I had probably my biggest scare out there. My dog comes in, vomits because she's so hot. It was a bad deal. I had to get her back to the truck and cool her down. But yeah, it was in the 70s.
That's crazy, ain't it?
It is.
But that's how it goes too. It's when you least expect it.
Right. I'm thinking it's in the 70s. We're okay, but no wind and high humidity, and I'm talking about tearing out. So it was ended up being sketchy, but we got her back and got her fixed up. I learned a lesson that morning for sure.
There you go. That's the main thing. You learned something out of it.
Yep.
Now you know. I know a lot of folks that don't learn nothing.
Oh man.
So when you when you're traveling and stuff, or when you go on a hunt, do you use tie outs or your cable sets more? Which do you prefer, or do you have certain scenarios you use one end and not the other one, or what?
I mostly use the cable because I just like it better.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cable. I like having them in line where I can just feed them in water. Like when I go out and I'm hunting for a few days, tent camping or whatever, I just set my cable up off to the side. So when I get back to camp and all, I can just get them on the gang, get them out of those boxes. Where in case, I don't want them to get hot and stuff in there, I can water them. They can relieve themselves, all that good stuff.
Yep.
If you're in a spot where like shade's at a premium and it's hot, individual stakeouts are probably better because you got a little more versatility. You can stick one under this tree, one under this tree. You don't necessarily have them all real close to each other like you do with it's easier to deal with dogs when you got them on the gang because they're all right there. But the stakeouts can give you, like if you got minimal shade or something, you can kind of get them all where they're comfortable with just the individual stakes.
I got you. That's something good to know right there for a lot of these listeners, because there's some that they want to get the cable sets and they only have maybe 3 dogs, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all to have it, but depending on where you're at in the scenario, like you said, if you're somewhere where there's limited shade, the tie outs and stakes would probably be better. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So
and it's personal preference. Some people like to just drive 8 stakes. I hate driving stakes. So if I just got to drive 2, that's all the better.
I agree. I definitely agree with you.
You know how that is.
Mm-hmm. Ain't no doubt.
Swinging that maul.
Or when you get somewhere and you forget your maul and all you got's a little hammer, I would definitely rather just work with 2 of them than 8.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt. So Nathan's got this. I was looking at it and I think I wrote it down backwards or something. He put down, he said, do you prefer male or female?
Male. I've only ever had females.
Really?
I saw that when he sent me the outline for it. I thought about it. I said, I've only ever had females. I don't know. I guess at this point, I'm kind of curious about a male.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to see a big male that just covers up the country.
Yeah. And
I think I might go that direction at some point. I know when I duck hunted and had labs, I wanted all females because I like the smaller size profile. If I had to get in a Piro and go anywhere with them, I'd rather a lighter dog. But
okay, for our listeners in Australia, tell them what a Piro is, because they're not going to know.
A Piro. Oh, it's a small, boat about 12 feet long. That's
narrow,
maybe 3 feet wide, narrow, pointed on both ends.
Wobbly.
Yeah, very wobbly, very unstable, but can get into tight places.
Yes, sir.
I guess, people around the marshes and swamps around here use the heck out of them, and it's still popular. Small, skinny water boat style.
And you don't have to have much water
now,
at all,
especially the south. You don't have to have much water, and you can load them up pretty good, and they're easy to hide too. Once you get to you, like if you're duck hunting and you don't want to have just a big boat sitting out there with you. You can sink it or shove it back in the weeds, and it'll be kind of hidden,
Yeah, I got you. I figured we'd throw that out there because, like I said, some people they're not going to know the terminology of it, and it's always good to educate a little bit for them. So
Yeah, and if you got 400 or 500 yards to go, I don't want to be paddling a John boat. I don't know about you.
no,
That Piro kind of cuts through the water. Where if you got a long ways to go, you can
Mhm.
you can cover ground as long as it's not choppy or anything like
Yeah.
that. They're definitely good for that.
no doubt. So
Yeah.
Nate's got the maturity and progression on here of the dogs. With it being you having females, where are these females in the English Pointer? What age are they becoming where they're mature? You know, they're becoming they're a dog now.
It depends. I mean, I find that the last 3 or 4 I've had, they start pretty early. You know, like they're going to start pointing and actively hunting and seeking and reaching and learning objectives and learning the wind and stuff like that pretty early. Now, are they going to put up a bunch of birds and still rip a few? Sure. About the age that I've seen the last few I had where they start to reliably get most of their birds pointed, hunt smart, really good focus, things like that, composure on birds, you know, around 2 years. But I mean, 5, 6, 7 months old, I've taken them hunting before and shot birds. Now, there's more that they bump or don't point or run up on that you don't shoot. You know, you only want to really start shooting pointed birds for them when you're taking them out. That way they learn, hey, if I point this bird, we're going to get it, you know. But I love to take a young dog out and watch him run up birds and make mistakes, learn. That's my favorite thing about running dogs is that under a year old, when you're taking them out there and they're running around, they think they know everything and they're just going out there and making mistakes, but getting it right sometimes. And man, when it comes together, it's just I just love that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in life with it. For a long time, man, I absolutely hated starting dogs, and but now that's all I want to do.
That's the funnest part.
It is.
If I could have every dog till they were 18 months old and sell them, I would. You know, I love that stuff. When you just start to break them out and take the chase out.
Yep.
It's kind of like you don't know what you got at that point, you know. Then they get old. Not that I don't like running an experienced, broke, turnkey dog that I don't have to yee and hi at them a lot to get them around. I mean, I do like that too. And there's days that if I'm going on a short trip, I just grab one of my older dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Those young ones are fun.
Yeah, that's
super fun.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. It might just be because I'm getting older doing that stuff, but a lot of guys that I've talked to, that seems to be what their whole drive is
starting
a dog. Yeah. And when that switch turns on and they actually become a dog and you can take him and send him to somebody or her and they can take the dog, you know, even like you said, even though it's 16, 18 months old, they can take it to the field or to the woods or to cut over and put up birds and kill game with it. Now, and it still has room to improve and to grow, so it gets better and better.
Oh yeah, they still got a lot of work at that age, no doubt. Right.
Yeah, I've found that there's some of the most serious guys. That's where it's at for them. Yeah, and I never ever thought I'd be like that. I would rather have a 10-year-old dog that I could just say, okay, go do it. I'm just lazy. Just lazy. Well, it was out for a long time. It was just we had to hunt. Mm-hmm.
There's something about that young up and comer where there's still a little gray area on what they're going to be, and you sitting there watching it all happen. That is fun.
Yes.
Yep.
I take them into some of those covers in the swamp where you can move 50 woodcock, you know. Mm-hmm. And when they're young like that and they're just starting to get it, you might only let them 3 or 4 because after that 4th bird, they're getting stronger and stronger, and they're just about to freaking come unglued. You got to turn them around and get them out of there. That's about the point. That's the peak of fun to me, you know. When you're getting them to do it right, and hey, all right, she had enough. So he's gonna get in here and about to go batshit crazy.
It's gonna freak out. Like, give me that gun.
Yep.
So
They just start rolling, man.
would you rather hunt quail or woodcock if you could only hunt one?
I'll tell you, quail's definitely the bigger rush. I mean, a covey flush is just mind numbing. My heart's in my throat like I'm shooting a freaking 200-inch deer whenever a covey gets up in front of me. I feel like I get more work done on woodcock because there's more finds, there's more birds. I got some, over the years, I really found some good spots and kind of dialed in what I need to look for in new areas to where I can definitely get more work done on woodcock, but quail's the bigger rush for sure.
Cool. Yeah,
It takes a better dog to get quail pointed than it does to get woodcock pointed too. That's the fact. Yeah, woodcock are pretty easy. They sit there, they respect the dog.
We might have a chance to have a woodcock dog.
There you go.
Or just a cock dog. I know.
Hey, either one. Huh?
There's a young man named Jacob Kilgore that lives around here, and he specializes in cock dogs all the time.
Okay.
So if you ever need one, he's your guy.
I'll keep him in mind for sure.
He's gonna punch me right there.
Yeah, Jacob's gonna whoop you for that one.
Oh my goodness. With the what kind of guns and ammo you swinging?
Mostly shoot a 20 gauge. I bought my son a 28 gauge. Over and under, just super easy to use for him. He was 15 when I got it for him.
Yeah.
And I shoot that when he's not with me too. I love that little gun.
Gotcha.
It's something about loading up a whole box of shells in 2 front pockets and it doesn't weigh anything.
Yes.
It's a 28. That's just really nice to me, you know.
It's like a little bit bigger than a 410, or
Yeah, just a little bit, but the pattern's incredible with them. As far as bird hunt, I mean, you get a nice open pattern. It hits hard. I have enjoyed shooting that little gun, but I'd probably say if I bought another gun for myself, it'd probably be another 20.
Yeah. You
don't need big guns for quail and woodcock. They're so small. I mean, 6, 7.5, 8 shot. It's perfect,
What's that? That 28 you got? It's a semi-auto. The little 28 gauge at the house.
Yeah, that's sure.
Well, I gave it to Ella.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. It's somebody's. But I got it. So, and it's a semi-auto, but that it's pretty nice.
Patterns.
Those things have soared in popularity lately, and for good reason. You shot them. I know it. I didn't pay much for mine either. I didn't get.
I was surprised. I bought like a knockoff. Like a TriStar or something maybe.
Yeah,
right.
It was a TriStar.
So but I'll be honest with you, that thing would just spit them out.
But we don't feel bad when we're out there beating through the brush squirrel hunting with it.
No, it's like 200, 300 bucks maybe.
Yeah.
350. I don't know what it was. 500. I don't know. Not 2,000.
Right, exactly. Or 5. Somebody.
Yes,
I think I couldn't see it either.
Oh, that's another thing too. I didn't think about that in your line of work. Yeah, those side by sides and over and unders, those Satoris and
oh my goodness,
them big Brownings.
There's some gun connoisseurs in the upland world. I am not one of them for sure. I don't put too much stock in my gun. I just want something that I mount good and I'm looking where I need to be looking when I mount it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm not too big. There are a lot of people that do appreciate, fine guns and are all into that.
Yeah. And
hey, that's one aspect of it for them too, besides the dogs and the birds and all that other stuff.
Well, that's
for sure.
And I know a few guys that are big into, big names and the expensive stuff like you're talking about, but I don't know, man. I would feel, I don't know how I couldn't go out there if I had something in my hand that was $10,000 and just stomp through the briars and get it skin up.
Definitely not. I mean, there's times where I'm knocking down briars in front of me with the barrel. I wouldn't want anything super nice with that.
Yeah.
I guess it seems like a lot like people hunting prairie grouse and stuff is real open, and I guess there's not as much chance of damaging a gun. I guess it would make more sense to have something nice out there, but hey, if that's what they're into,
Well, I guess it wouldn't make more sense, like I said. or wouldn't be as frightful to have it, I guess, you know.
Right. I don't want a gun worth more than my truck. Just me personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So with the shooting the guns and stuff like that with the dogs when they're young, what do you look? I mean, do you have dogs that are gun shy, or are your dogs pretty?
I haven't had one that was gun shy yet. I normally get them because I keep homing pigeons too for like yard work and things like that, and even like a little sparing field work with pigeons. I definitely don't overdo it, but so I'll get them to where they're either pointing or I'm holding a pigeon in the hand and just let it fly. And when they're like all out chasing that pigeon, maybe barking at it, jumping ditches, trying to get it when it's flying off. Once I get them to that point, then I might fire a cat pistol off in the distance or get someone far away to do it. Yeah. But just doing it like that slowly, once they're really, really focused on just that bird, tunnel vision on it, that I hadn't had a problem.
Okay. I got you. Like I said, we don't deal with a lot of anything to do with any kind of gun dogs. Maybe a squirrel dog here and there. And
it's typically about the same. Like, don't ever really have that issue.
That when I was younger, I used to mess with some a lot. And when they were puppies, I was always snapping my fingers real loud beside them. And then I would start clapping, you know, and then I'd move it up. But that was from the time they were little bitty puppies, you know. That was just something that we did, you know. I don't know if it was right or not. I think
too. I also think that if you got a dog that's bold and has good mental composure, which is definitely something I look for in a dog. I don't want a dog that's like neurotic and crazy. Although driven and will go 400 yards looking for birds, I want them to be composed doing that. And I think when you get dogs with that mindset and that mental makeup, it's a lot less chances of them falling apart with something like a loud noise. You know what I mean?
Yes.
These dogs are super bold. It's like I look for like these fearless pups. You know, I want them not afraid of anything. If they're 10 feet away from me and don't see me and they don't look up to see where I'm at and don't care, that doesn't bother me. I like that boldness.
What about shyness? Like, I mean, like you said, I know that sounds kind of contradictory because we're talking about a pup that's bold, but you can have a pup that's bold and it's not scared of nothing, but say it doesn't want to come to you. It's hard to catch or anything like that. That's what I mean. Not
right.
And I don't know if that wouldn't be classified as shyness, really.
Probably just more timid,
hard-headed.
Yeah.
But like, say we do talk about one that's shy or very timid, that isn't very bold. That's kind of, you know, always kind of slinking down and cowering down and stuff. I just don't see those making the cut, would they? You think?
No, I'd have to move that one personally.
Gotcha. So what do you do with them like that? Do you soft cull or do you hard cull?
I hadn't had one that I ever had to cull. I hadn't owned a ton of dogs. I probably owned, I don't know, 12, 15 dogs, maybe. Not that many.
Yeah. But I mean, that's good though, because I mean, that shows that the line of dogs that you're having, the consistency in them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of, like when I went back to check this litter out after I had this pup a while later. I went to back to this guy's house. These dogs were like 16 weeks old at the time, right? Maybe 20. They didn't know their name. They didn't know come. They didn't know his freaking single command. And he had them coming to, hey, whatever, throwing a pigeon wing on the ground. They'd all come to him. Got in a side-by-side, take off riding. They would all get in front of the side-by-side, hunting forward, pointing birds. When he got close to them, they'd rip them, get right back in the front and go back to heading whichever way he was going. And these dogs didn't even know their name.
That's what I'm talking about.
It just starting early and just emotions and working on what they already had. It's like, it's developing more than I don't want to have to put anything into a dog. You know, there's these trainers that like, and I'm not taking anything away. They're good at what they do, but they like being challenged by dogs and this and that. I don't personally like that. I don't want to be challenged.
Nope.
I want a dog that just comes along easily and you know. Basically, all I'm having to do is, shave a little bit off here, nudge them this way here and there, and then at the end, put some brakes on them.
Well, that's the thing. It seemed now what you just said. That's kind of what me and a very good friend of mine we have a little bit of a disagreement on. Like
Mhm.
I can put the brakes on a dog, but it's
Right.
hard to push the gas on one.
You can't. They say that about a rope with pointers a lot. You can pull it in, but you can't push it out.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I've talked to several people here lately, and they seem to like a dog that we've talked, 2 or 3, that they want a shy dog that doesn't really. We talked to a coon dog the other night, and this guy is in South Carolina, and he said he didn't necessarily want a dog that's super shy, but he wanted a one-person dog. He didn't want the dog like if
like other people.
Yeah, if there's 5 people that come up, he wants the dog to. He said even if it's hard for him to catch, as long as he can catch it. I was like,
Right.
I can't do it. I got to holler and say, get in the truck, let's go.
Yeah,
And that's what better be happening.
right. Yeah,
Because that's it just takes so much time or waste.
it takes time and
Waste time.
patience. Yeah,
when they don't.
But
come.
there's people that are so good at, they can take a dog that somebody had for a year and a half and never taught them a thing, and they can take the dog for 3 months. Bird dog trainers, I'm sure, the trainers that too, and they can bring all that out in them, but they got the skill, the patience, all this stuff, and they really are great trainers.
They got the time. They getting paid, a lot of them getting paid for it. We're not,
and the knowledge too.
Exactly. That's why they're getting paid for it, and we ain't.
Yeah.
That's why we want one of them to get in the truck and go hunt.
That's right. I like them. I like the ones that I don't have. I mean, not saying that I don't do a lot of work and a lot of training. I do. I just don't want one that. I want a dog that has guts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if they got guts and they're bold, we can get a lot done with that.
I agree. There's no doubt about that. Well, with the dogs like you're talking about, like say you got a dog that's 5 years old and it's a sure enough dog, right?
Right.
What kind of price was one of those bird dogs like that run? An English pointer?
I have no idea. I wouldn't think that much. I wouldn't think it would be that much. Not like
You don't think so?
probably coon dogs and stuff are pulling.
Oh yeah, coon dogs, man. Good God.
Man, some of the price or a trained lab. Geez, you seen some of those prices lately?
Yeah,
I don't think near as much.
I didn't know. I wasn't for sure. Like I said, I've never even priced one. I've heard some big money prices on dogs out west and in Texas, but that's there. I mean, they're
now
also paying a lot of money.
I've heard numbers. Right. I have heard numbers of like champion field trial dogs, like, in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
But that's not, I don't have anything like that. These are just foot hunting gun dogs, classy. I like them classy, and I like them broke to where they're not chasing on flush, standing there looking pretty.
Yeah, I got you.
It's just, they're not what they're selling for sure. I mean, that's the upper echelon.
Nice.
Top of the line, best you can get.
I got you. That's me. I like a dog that's just going to work, man, and do his job, and and be pretty good at it.
One you can have fun with, as that's what it's all about.
I agree that it should be about having fun.
They definitely should be. That's what I was talking to my buddy about the other day. I was like, I have to be excited to go grab this dog out the kennel and go run it for me to want to keep it and put effort and all that into it. The dog's got excited.
I got you. So are y'all running Garmin's on y'all's, or do y'all use a different?
I like those Garmin. I love those. I'm using the 550 Pro Plus.
Yeah.
I just have direction on it and tells me if they stopped or not.
That's it.
I love that thing.
10 4. Yeah, I didn't know, because I've I know there's 2 or 3 others out there, but Garmin is about what, that's what most of the people run that I know. And I didn't know if that's what you guys were running as well.
Yeah, I mean, the ergonomics of that handheld,
Mm-hmm.
or you can swap between dogs. I can tone them. I can correct just and with one hand without even looking. I mean, it's my favorite one that I've ever used.
Nice. What kind of feed do you feed?
I feed.
That's something we talk about.
I've been feeding a Nook Shook lately.
You like it?
Have you fed that? Yeah, I like it.
I haven't fed it yet.
They can get fat on it in the summer if I don't dial it back, but I just dropped down to like a 27-16 in the summer, and
Yeah.
they're fine. I can't keep them. If I had them on a 25-30 in the summer, I'd have to feed them. It's so little amount of feed going in them, they want to run out in the yard and eat everything they see because they don't feel full either,
Mm-hmm.
So I drop them down to a lesser fat and protein, and just that way I can keep some mass in them.
Hell yeah!
But
I've heard that in Nook Shook it's really good feed.
I have. What are you feeding?
We tried to swap up a while back. We were feeding Showtime for a long time, and then we went back to went to Diamond for a little while. Tried that again. It's like, man.
Yeah, I didn't stay with it.
Honestly, we went back to Sport Mix, the black bag Sport Mix, and it's been holding them really good. They done something in the past few years.
Yeah,
I fed it a long time ago, and it just got where it was junk bad. But now we do a lot of raw feeding and supplemental feeding as well.
Okay.
So we don't. It's not just strictly kibble. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at
what breeds of dogs do you have? You got
oh my God! You sure you
cur
wanna know all
dogs, pit
this?
bulls?
Blackmouth curs, Catahoula curs, Kimmer curs, Airedale terriers,
Mountain
English
curs.
bull terriers, American pit bull terrier,
Wolfhounds.
Yog terrier. I got a blue tick.
Yeah, and a blue tick.
Got
Yeah,
a foxhound.
yeah, got a foxhound, Irish
Sweet.
wolfhound. Got a bull whippet.
So what's that
little bit
wolfhound catching for you? He's grabbing on the hogs.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, he's still young. I got him in the spring.
He should be about what, a year and a half? 2 years now?
He should be getting close to 2 years old. I'll have to look, make sure. But I got him to put into the breeding program to do some crosses with. I was going to cross up some running catch dogs. And so I took him out. I was like, well, let's just see what he'll do. And this rascal went hunting. He was staying like he literally has never seen any game before I got him. He's just been pretty much pet. And we turned him loose, and I said, well, we'll let him run around right here. He stayed close for a few minutes, and then he was going 200 to 400 yards in circles around us. I was like, hey, I'm fine with that for just a catch dog.
Right.
I mean, that's good. Well, carried him out again. He was at a little over a mile.
Wow.
And he found his own pig on his second time out. Or was it second? Second time.
He grabs a hold of the pig, or he just bays it?
No, he grabs a hold of him. Well, the pig was no longer with us. By the time we got up there, he had done finished it off.
Dispatched the hog.
Yeah,
Wow.
he dispatched the pork chops. It was a smaller one, but the fact is, like, to me, that's unheard of. Everybody I've talked to says that's not normal at all. So I mean, I'm happy.
Was this from
with
hunting stock, or was he from?
Yeah, he's close about a hunting stock. But now I have to reiterate that because he's 3/4 wolfhound and a quarter deerhound.
Okay,
he's a big rascal.
He's big, though.
Very big. Big old hairy dog. His name's Harry.
Yeah.
Or Harold. We call him Harold.
I'm 5'10", and he comes up a little bit over my waist.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's up over your belly button. Yeah, he's up over mine.
When we first got him, he would try and like jump up and give you a hug, and like he's hitting you in the face with his chest. Like he's taller than you. Like he's taller than I am.
And for years, I ran all little dogs, little bitty dogs. Yeah. You know what the Jags are, the York Terriers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we ran those, and then I crossed them to pit bulls crossed them to Patterdales, crossed them to English Pointer, crossed them to Llewellyn Setter. And those were the most phenomenal dogs that we've probably ever walked behind.
Those little dogs are freaking
nuts.
They will get after it, huh?
They have a good nose.
I had one
they
that
really
would point
do.
woodcock.
Yeah.
He just
They'll point.
all by on himself. I was out there. I was like, Dad, what is that dog doing? I was probably like 12. It was one of my first Jags I'd
My
got.
Twitch.
Yeah. And he was over there full point. Dad's like, he's pointing. I was like, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
they've
is
never
he
seen
okay?
bird dogs.
I was like, is he okay? And he's over there.
That's
and I was
pretty
like,
neat.
look, there's a little woodcock. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't even realize
he did.
looking back, this is
And
so cool.
he was soft mouth
Yeah.
unless he was on a
Damn.
hog. And then, like, he would catch so hard.
They're just very
He-
versatile dogs.
Yeah.
They're so versatile.
That's incredible.
Couple of
Pretty
guys
cool.
out in the Midwest. Well, Dave Williams, or David Williams, he had his Jags and he would pheasant hunt. I think he duck hunted him
So
some.
Bruce is a hell of a
Um,
retriever.
Apollo was too.
Mhm.
Apollo was all the way around. Tyler Slade.
Super versatile.
Yeah.
Ty-
William Burns.
William
Jacob
Burns,
Zachary. They're
yep.
both from
Yeah.
South Texas.
Yeah, William Burns is in Texas, and he's got short hairs, and he does a lot of quail hunting, but he's got a couple of Jags that like will really show out on
That's
birds,
pretty cool.
and then he can take and go find a coon with him and let him thrash a coon in the brush pile or catch a hog. He's won money with him in a bay pens. And we, like I said, we've done the same thing with him for years. And I went from that to the bigger dogs because the hogs started running so much. Now
Right.
they just, like you're talking about those quail, like running like rats.
Right.
Hogs are the same way.
Really.
Yeah. That if they've got pressure on them and they hear a truck come up, man, they're gone. They're running.
History.
Yep. They blow out. Have you ever done that? Have you ever went on a dog and knife hunt?
I have not hogs. I've hunted deer with dogs, rabbit with dogs,
Mhm.
birds, ducks. That's about it.
I got you. We're gonna have to fix that.
I'd love to see it though.
Oh, no. This is a participation sport.
Oh, I got to get in there and grab one.
Yes, sir. Without a
Oh
doubt.
man,
It ain't that
I better
bad.
start hitting the weights.
It ain't that. Well, we'll get you a little one. I'm fine with a 50-pounder. We'll
I
tell
want-
everybody
I
it's
want one.
400.
I want one with the stripes still on it.
That's fine.
I'll grab
And
that.
we'll look. I got
Crock
some
pot
other.
pig, baby.
I'm one of those Facebook hog hunters. You know, celebrity hog hunter deal. And I've got some pictures that other people took, and we'll just tell them, "Hey, look at
Right.
this one." And we really caught a 50-pounder,
560 pounds on the hoof.
7-inch teeth.
It's gonna be a
That's
good
right.
hunt.
No, man. This has been a really good one here. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know, and getting
Yeah.
to talk to somebody that's
That's why I want to do this. I was like, I want to talk to somebody that I don't know what the hell's going on.
yeah. This has been pretty cool. Well, I mean, like we talked to William and David and them, and they look at us. They're like, you don't know what the hell I'm saying, so just
Yeah, I'm like,
Worry
you're
about the pigs.
speaking different language.
But it's we really appreciate you taking your time and talking with us on this stuff. And
Oh yeah.
If
I
you-
thank you guys for having me on.
we,
I can talk hunting dogs all day and listen about them all day. So.
right on. Like I said, do you got anything else? Like I said, we had some, the topics and stuff that we went over, and we covered all them. What do you got, Nate?
So my buddy Andrew Stadnick. So we had made a Facebook group for the podcast, and he wanted to talk about some tie outs, and he said he wanted to add a couple more anchor points on his leads so he could do some
Okay.
kind of connection and tether, like when he's riding in a boat with his dogs. So do you have any experience with tethering dogs in boat that you could give him advice on?
I made some rail cables before for a boat. So like you would just basically put your button stops closer together and use shorter leads. You could even go down the way you just have like a quick link and a snap, if you had them really close together.
Yeah.
I got
Something
you.
like that.
Yeah, he'll have like little Decker Terriers. So they'll probably be between 17, 25, maybe 30 pounds.
I think say, yeah, probably
Those are
30.
probably-
About big.
fit one every 18 inches, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause that's all he's got is terriers.
Yeah. I built one for a guy, not like that, but just a regular cable set.
Mhm.
He told me, and bless his heart, I told him, I said, well, this is how I build the one I use, you know, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh, that ain't going to be big enough. I said, well, you got your main line. I said, we got about 6 foot in between the dogs. I said, and so, you know, I got like 18-inch tethers, you know, that you clip to the cable.
Right.
And he was like, no, I want mine like 6 foot. I was like, oh no, we can't do that. He was like, well,
Yeah,
3 foot minimum. And I was like, well, that's going to put you at 8 foot to 9 foot
Yep.
in between each dog. He's got
At
big
least.
Catahoulas.
Whew.
I'm talking about big Catahoulas. And I told him, I said, well, if we do this, we need to add extra stakes on that line. He wanted 8 dogs. I was like, oh man.
It'll be 100 feet long.
I think I was at 60 something feet for real. And he put it together and there was no middle stake. He just put it all together. And them jokers took off running and they actually broke a 2-inch. I don't even remember the gauge. It's a mule harness ring that you hook to a mule and pull logs with.
Right.
They snapped the ring. It didn't break the cable and it didn't pop a ferrule.
No, that ring's the weak link for sure.
When it popped that ring, I was like, oh my Jesus. I was like, and I knew it was going to happen. I told him, I said, I don't think this is going to work. He brought it back. He was like, hey, he said, can we just do it the way you normally do it? And so he hadn't had any problems since though, but I was just like, his dogs are monsters.
Right.
Mr. Matt Latham. And I'm talking about they are big, strong dogs. So what do you do in that scenario? You know, when somebody orders one, or can somebody contact you and get one custom made?
Yeah, I do tons of custom work. They like stuff like that. I mean, my biggest regular one I sell is a 10 dog, but like you say, a 6 foot spacing. So that's a 66 foot long main line. I do tell people that, hey, if you're going to be putting that thing down and picking it up all the time, probably better off with 2 5s or 4s or anything like that.
That's right.
Make those spaces up. But yeah, I've had people that want to order them really long and I got to go over the spacing and things like that. Sometimes, I mean, I wouldn't do it to where it was like 6 foot drop. Then you just won't have to worry about tangling and stuff like that, even if the dogs can't touch.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some with 3 footers, you know, where I got to do, I don't know, 8 foot spacing between, and then maybe I'll shave a little off the ends if they don't want to tie dogs on the ends. I'll just do like 2.5, 3 foot to the ends or something. But you still end up with a pretty big footprint. Some people don't mind. Some people do. It just depends on how they're going to use it. You know?
Well, that's why I was asking, because there's a lot of people that are, you know, we've got in the past 6 months, man, we have gained a lot of listeners, and and like I said, that's one reason why I asked those kind of questions, because I try to take that into account. You know, if somebody wanted to get this product and needed a certain length or a certain way, I just wanted to make sure that they could, you know, contact you. Like I said, Nate's going to put all your info in the links down below when we post everything and we upload it. And so that way they can get with you and hopefully drum you up some more business, man.
Hey, I would appreciate that for sure. There's a custom works tab on the website to where there's like a little form you can populate with email address and then whatever you want custom. And people hit me up all the time, and I either call them and we'll talk about what they want, or email with them and then get it built.
Hell yeah.
And look, like, we'll make long drops and stuff for people that maybe just want them on a dog trailer or something like that. I mean, we do all that stuff. Most of the drops on the site are 24 inches, but people order them 10 feet, 6 feet, all kind of stuff. You just put us up. We make almost anything. So.
Nice. That's pretty good. So that anything else you want to add to this, Brennan?
Not that I can think of.
I think you got everything covered we wanted to discuss.
Yeah, just glad talking to some dog people. Always a nice time. So.
Well, man, we appreciate, like I said, we appreciate your time and all the good talking, the stories, and thanks for, and letting us be involved in your life and what you're doing. And like I said, maybe we can help a little bit and get some more business, and maybe it'll help ours grow as well. And, with our listeners out there, because I see a lot of advertisements for Cable Gangz all the time. So
Right.
they got to know who that is. So, but man, we really appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, we're gonna get with you, and we'll stay. I'm gonna get in contact with you because I really want to do this hunt.
Yeah, hit me up. North Alabama's not that far from me.
No, like I said, I don't think it would be that bad. And like I said, it's all private stuff, so I mean, you ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. And I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah. And if y'all want to come down here and chase woodcock or something like that, just let me know.
We might do that.
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother. We appreciate you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Mr. Brennan Landry with Cable Gangz. And yeah, he's pretty cool. That was awesome there.
Oh, yeah.
I know he was busy. Normally we probably do another 15, 20 minutes. He's trying to get everything prepped for a hurricane that's coming in. A lot of bad weather coming. So we might check back in with him later on, and hopefully we get to go visit with him, or he can come visit with us and
do some hunting.
We'll have another story
Oh, yeah.
to do it. So we really appreciate y'all listeners. Thanks for all your feedback that we've been getting here lately. It's all been pretty good. Nobody's really been mean to me. Nobody's ever mean to Nate, but there's a few people that are mean to me from time to
off
time.
the old man. Jeez.
Well, they hurt my feelings. Sometimes I want to cry.
I bet Papa
I'm trying to
Ronnie will
think.
whoop their ass.
Well, Ronnie's one of the main ones that's mean to me.
Oh.
I'm just going to be honest with you. It's abuse to an extent. So if y'all out there listening in Dixie Doggers podcast world, and y'all think about my pawpaw Ronnie Creek, y'all say a little prayer for him so that way he treats me good and he ain't mean to me. So, hey, we appreciate y'all listening. Thank you for your time. And until the next one, we'll see y'all.
Thank you. Hope y'all enjoyed that episode. Stay tuned for our new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. For questions, advertising, or just to chat, email DixieDoggers01@gmail.com.